the cinematic Cyberpunk 2077 was easily the star of the E3 2019 show, with people still talking about it all over the internet. And while it may seem like an eternity for the 300 some odd days we still have until Cyberpunk 2077's release, a ton of news has come out about the game since that trailer's released about a week and a half ago. And while the actual gameplay trailer that was shown at E3 is still being held from us plebs for a little while longer, the amount of impression videos and interviews talking about the gameplay are all over the internet. So in this video, I'm going to round up a bunch of that news sources for you guys to cover some new details that have been released since the trailers dropped about a week and a half ago, so that you don't have to go through and read a bunch of articles, maybe like 70, that I did. In one of the more recent interviews, and probably one of the most impactful with PC Gamer magazine recently, Cyberpunk 2077 has actually already been somewhat confirmed to have expansions similar to CD Projekt Red's handling of The Witcher 3. That's right, and I quote, "We are talking about expansions in the future. We want to make sure everything's complete, but we also want to build to open worlds. I know when I was playing The Witcher 3 and I finished everything, I still wanted to know what everyone was up to. I think we're going to have opportunities like that for Cyberpunk 2077. And while this news isn't entirely too surprising given the success of The Witcher 3's DLC and the overall just hype of Cyberpunk 2077, it is great news to those of us who can't get enough Cyberpunk 2077 now to know that even after release, we'll have something to look forward to. Another larger detail that came out pretty much immediately after the trailer was dropped was that the character played by Keanu Reeves has been confirmed via multiple sources, including Twitter and interviews with Keanu himself, that he is playing the character Johnny Silverhand, which features pretty prominently in the tabletop role-playing game Cyberpunk 2020. Now, in an interview with IGN, Keanu himself states that Johnny Silverhand had a moment of, quote, maybe death, but I'm still around, and living in the chip inside of the character's head, it seems to be what this is hinting at. He states that the character is with you throughout your journey and has an agenda of his own, though what that is right now, we are unsure. Glancing on over at the Cyberpunk 2077 Steam page, we can see that we'll be playing as V, who is a mercenary outlaw going after a one-of-a-kind implant that is the key to immortality. However, why Johnny may want this or how he is tied to this is uncertain right now, but I think it's a safe bet that he has a stake in this game. And what conversation about Johnny Silverhand would be complete without referencing his ex-girlfriend Alt Cunningham, who featured very prominently in the Cyberpunk 2020 universe. She is hinted at many times in interviews with developers, and while they have not outright said that she is in the game, it seems extremely likely that she will be so. And as someone who is a netrunner who completely uploaded her consciousness to the net, her take on the whole immortality chip will likely prove invaluable. And there are even rumors right now that Alt is appearing in the game and is voiced by no other than Lady Gaga. Now, whether or not this is true has nowhere near been confirmed, but certainly something to keep an eye on. Moving on from Johnny and his exes, there's an interview with VG247 in which people notice that the developer Paolo Sasco is hinting a little bit that the backstory of V plays a little bit more of an important role. Obviously, we all assumed that this would open up unique dialogue opportunities and ways to reference how you were raised, etc. But he seemed to be hinting at the possibility of multiple different starting locations as well, based off of the life path of V that you chose. A great individual tweeted this to himself, calling him out on this, and while he did not outright confirm this, it does seem extremely likely based off of his response. And if multiple beginnings are present, who could not expect anything less than multiple different endings, which has also been confirmed in interviews with developers as well. The exact number of these is unknown, but given that The Witcher 3 had way more than 10, I would expect nothing less of Cyberpunk 2077. In another interview, when asked about vehicles specifically, someone actually thought to ask if we are given free reign with vehicles, do we also have the freedom to full GTA style mow down citizens? And surprisingly, the answer was yes. It seems that we have the opportunity to kill a multitude of people in the streets, and there's even a police-style system for repercussions similar to GTA. However, unique to Cyberpunk 2077 is that this system will change depending on the part of Night City and its surrounding areas that you are in, as the police do not control everything in the entire city. There are locations in Night Cities where the police have no influence, and you will rather be pursued by gang members than the police themselves. Now, whether or not you have to full-on get your car repainted or there's some other way to lose the heat is unknown at this time, but it's certainly a feature that I'm looking forward to. While on the subject of vehicles, the developers were also asked if we were getting any boats or airborne vehicles, and while they did confirm that airborne vehicles are in the game, they will not be under the control by the players and will follow specific paths, and there are no boats to be driven in Cyberpunk 2077. I think I'm going to wrap it up there, but there are still plenty of details, including the inclusion of Morgan Blackhand, the addition of many different gangs, including one that speaks Haitian Creole, a full crafting system that we could talk about for days now. But these are the main points that have come out in interviews since the E3 trailer. I'm definitely following the news for Cyberpunk really closely and seek to keep you guys updated each week about the goings-on, if any, are happening in the development of this game. The Collector's Edition actually released yesterday, if you're watching this video on the day it was released, and has already pretty much sold out on most websites. There is still some availability over on GameStop for the console version, so if you have any time and you're thinking about getting the Collector's Edition, the time is now in America, guys. Also, if you were watching this video and you didn't know who I was talking about when we discussed Johnny Silverhand and Cunningham, or Morgan Blackhand, leave a comment down in the description below if you want me to feature videos on the backstories of these people, as they're all likely to feature pretty prominently in the Cyberpunk world, and I would be more than happy to do so. If you haven't checked out my previous videos, including the Cyberpunk trailer analysis, you can watch them on either side of the video screen now. Please, please, please give me a like, favorite, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I'm RPGMD, writing you a prescription on all things dice, dragons, and gaming, and I'll be seeing you guys next week.